It's D-U-E-U tell. I see you by this point, you're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, man. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, yeah.
Welcome to Football Game Plan's NFL All 32 show. I am Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and today it will be all about Duval County, the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we start to preview the upcoming 2021 NFL season. We'll take a look at some training camp quick hits, some reasons for optimism, as well as some causes for concern, in addition to our positional breakdowns on both sides of the ball. But first, let's take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the season as we go into our 4-minute offense. After years of speculation on whether or not he'll take the leap, Urban Meyer finally did and became an NFL head coach after a highly successful college coaching career at Ohio State and Florida and Bowling Green, and also Utah, coaching Alex Smith into the first overall selection. Meyer is ready to take on a new challenge with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and if we're being completely honest, this is the best possible way to enter the NFL. Have a young team with talent and also have 2 first-round picks, with one being the number 1 overall selection and an opportunity to take the best quarterback in the last 2 draft classes combined. Not bad at all. The entire football world will be keeping a close eye on how much progress and success he's able to have in a different arena. Jacksonville has been swinging and missing at the quarterback position for quite some time, from first-round picks Blaine Gabbert and Blake Bortles to late-round hopeful Gardner Minshew to free agent flameouts in Nick Foles and Mike Glennon. The Jags just haven't had any consistent luck. That is all about the change, as they were able to grab Trevor Lawrence with the first overall pick in this year's draft. He's a very polished prospect that has a track record of proven success. Unlike the other recent draft picks they've made at the position, he can help stabilize a franchise at the most important spot, which should help flatline the consistency on offense from game to game and allow these other players to maximize their talents. And having a player of that caliber is definitely the type of player to help change the course of an entire franchise. Now, it wasn't just the fact that they grabbed Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars really had a strong draft class from top to bottom, with selections like Lawrence's teammate Travis Etienne and top-tier college talents like offensive tackle Walker Little out of Stanford and safety Andre Cisco out of Syracuse. The Jaguars got significantly better on both sides of the ball. The hope is that with this influx of talent, along with a coach that has a track record of both developmental skills and on-field success, the Jags can become a consistent player in both the AFC South and AFC as a whole. Now, this is a pivotal year for a couple of guys in Jacksonville, players that figured to play significant roles this season. I'm talking about starting left tackle Cam Robinson and starting defensive lineman Taven Bryan. Both were high draft picks and have flashed a productivity that give you some optimism, but they've been plagued by inconsistency for the most part. The hope is that under a new staff, they get a blank slate, find their consistency, and prove their worth to this team for the long term. If that happens, expect them to be financially rewarded for their efforts. I'm excited to see how the number 1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence fares this season. Truth be told, he's walking into a solid situation than most rookie quarterbacks would. He's got the benefit of having a solid running back core and wide receivers that are both criminally underrated and talented. Plus, his own talent is able to help elevate what's around him. Lawrence is a dual threat QB that should be an easy pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, behind him for now is Gardner Minshew, who has at least proven that he can start some games for you if need be. And I think they should keep him at QB2 and let second-year player Jake Luton and also free agent signing CJ Beathard battle it out for number 3. In the backfield, James Robinson is coming off of an excellent rookie season that saw him go over 1,000 yards, scoring 7 rushing touchdowns. He also hauled in 49 receptions for 3 scores. And what an amazing job for a guy who entered the league last year as an undrafted rookie free agent. Now, this season, he'll likely have to divvy up some of those opportunities with first-round pick Travis Etienne, who brings the home run hitting speed that Robinson lacks. Now, Etienne was an elite college back and has been getting some spring cross training at wide receiver. And that tells me that there's a plan to get both guys on the field at the same time. Veteran Carlos Hyde and Dare Ogunbowale help strengthen the depth here as well. Jacksonville has a very talented and young receiving core. They added more talent this offseason with the signing of Marvin Jones, who has been productive in both Cincinnati and Detroit most recently. He gives them a veteran number 1 target for Trevor Lawrence and allows for guys like DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault the opportunity to continue to grow at their own pace. Chark led the team in receiving yards last year, and Shenault led the team in receptions. Both scored 5 touchdowns each as well. And second-year player Colin Johnson out of Texas was getting better as the season went on and is their biggest option at the position, standing 6'6", about 230 pounds. He averaged 15 yards a catch last year, which was the best amongst the receiver group. Veterans Philip Dorsett and Jamal Agnew come over in free agency, helping bolster the speed and special teams unit. And I really like what they have in rookies Jalen Camp out of Georgia Tech, who they drafted in the 6th round, and undrafted rookie free agents Josh Imortababy out of Illinois and Tim Jones out of Southern Miss. Those guys are all explosive wideouts that have the ability to go up and pluck the ball out of the air. Now, competition is going to be fierce this summer at this position. Tight end is an area where the Jags want to improve this upcoming season, and I'm a fan of Tyler Davis, James O'Shaughnessy, and Ben Ellefson. I think all three guys are underrated receiving options in my opinion. They signed Chris Manhertz and drafted Luke Farrell in the 5th round. Both are seen more as blocking types. And then there's Tim Tebow, who has been out of football for a while and is trying to make the transition to a new position. How he does in the preseason will ultimately determine how close he is in regards to that transition. There are some work-withable pieces here up front for Jacksonville. The cupboard isn't bare at all. It's all about consistency with this group. Like I mentioned earlier, Cam Robinson has shown that he could be a good player, but injuries have stunted his growth just a bit. Right tackle Jawan Taylor has been a bit up and down and really needs to find his consistency in pass pro. Walker Little, the 2nd-round pick out of Stanford, was one of the top tackles in the Pac-12 and will be putting a lot of heat on both tackles during training camp. Now, Jacksonville is a bit more stable on the interior in my opinion. A.J. Cann is a solid guard, and getting Brandon Linder back at 100% should help them out at center. Andrew Norwell is capable, but we'll have to hold off 2nd-year player Ben Barch, who missed some games last year with COVID and was really worked in heavily earlier in the season. Will Richardson and Tyler Shatley gives them some really good depth on the inside. We'll see more of a hybrid defense this year from Jacksonville, more so than the standard 4-3 we've seen from them over the years. Josh Allen could play with his hand up or his hand down in the dirt and is looking to have a bounce-back injury-free season, and I would expect him to get back into that double-digit sack category. Free agent signing Roy Robertson Harris should blossom as a 3-4 end or edge guy within his defense. He's long, lengthy, and athletic to be a disruptive presence. The team hopes that Kayvon Chasen can take a step forward in his progress as a year 2 player. Him more so on the edge should help him in that regard. Rookie Jordan Smith out of UAB is 6'7", 255 and has the ability to play at the point of attack or drop back in a short zone area, giving them a versatile and athletic player at that spot. And Jod Ward, DeJuan Smoot, and Adam Gotsis figure to be heavy rotational pieces as well. Now on the inside, Taven Bryan, becoming an impact guy, could definitely change things for sure. He's got the quickness to be disruptive, just lacking that consistency. Free agent signing Malcolm Brown and 2nd-year player Devon Hamilton, who returns from injury, should help maintain that line of scrimmage up front. But I would be interested to see how rookie Jay Tufele out of USC factors into the mix. He's got that big ball of energy in terms of ball get off that give offenses fits up front on a consistent basis. Joe Schobert and Miles Jack give Jacksonville 2 good off-ball linebackers to work with. Both were 1 and 2 in total tackles last season. They are really stable on the inside with those two. What will be interesting is the battle that'll take place between Leon Jacobs, Shaq Quarterman, and undrafted rookie free agent Dylan Moses, who is projected to be a 1st-round pick at one point in time in his collegiate career, but suffered some injuries and is working his way back. If what we saw last year on film was a baseline for his return, then he has a really good chance to make the roster and make an impact. Now, there's some speed here as well with Quincy Williams and Dakota Allen, both factoring in the mix in addition to their work on special teams. This was an area where Urban Meyer went to work during the offseason. They went out and signed Shaq Griffin to be a plug-and-play starter, drafted Tyson Campbell out of Georgia High in the 2nd round, who has really good length and athleticism, and signed both Rudy Ford and Rayshawn Jenkins to help compete at safety, along with the drafting of Andre Cisco out of Syracuse. So needless to say, they wanted to get lengthy and more athletic on the back end. However, there were some good pieces in place already to work with, like 2nd-year player C.J. Henderson, who got off to a great start last season before being injured. He's going to provide a good co-pilot to Shaquille Griffin out there on the corners. We also saw Luke Barkoo make the team as an undrafted rookie free agent out of San Diego State and actually start a game. So I would expect him to vie for that top reserve spot with Trey Herndon, who started games last year as well. Now, Sidney Jones is coming off a torn Achilles, and health has been his biggest bugaboo since coming into the NFL. I also like the play of Chris Claybrooks, who is an excellent special teamer. Same with safeties Daniel Thomas and Andrew Wingard. Looking at some reasons for optimism for the Jaguars, obviously stability at the quarterback position. Getting a guy of the caliber of Trevor Lawrence will help set this franchise on the right trajectory. And also, this is a team that has underrated talent. This is like the other version of the Browns, when we always said they have some talent. All it takes is consistency at quarterback. Well, this is the same thing for Jacksonville. They're a very talented team on both sides of the ball. And Urban Meyer's pedigree, he's won everywhere he's been. He's been consistent. He has won big. He knows how to develop talent. He knows how to identify talent. So all three things to me give you a lot of optimism about Jacksonville. A cause for concern would be the point of attack inconsistency. That's the offensive line and defensive line. If they can't get that level of consistency up front, the run game won't be as effective. You won't be able to protect Trevor Lawrence, and defensively, you won't be able to stop the run or get consistent pressure. So I think they have to be consistent up front on both sides of the ball. If that can't happen, that gives you a lot of concern about their success in 2021. Now let's take a look at some training camp quick hits and look at a camp surprise on both sides of the ball. I think people will be surprised at the level of depth they have at wide receiver. This is an explosive, dynamic group, and I am excited to see these guys take the field in the preseason. And defensively, keep an eye out for Aaron Patrick. He's long, lengthy, athletic, notice a theme here, and was a tremendous pass rusher at Eastern Kentucky. He was on the practice squad last year. I think as an outside edge rusher, he has a chance to impress and surprise during camp. Obviously, the rookie impact is Trevor Lawrence. He's going to start from day one. He's going to be good from day one. I'm excited about the future in Jacksonville. Defensively, you look at someone like Jay Tufele. We mentioned him earlier when we were talking about the defensive lineman. I think he has a chance to really push for a starting job. He's a disruptive force up front and plays the run equally as he plays the pass. The biggest X factor will be the offensive line. Your rookie quarterback, while he's talented, he's only going to be as good as those guys in front of him. They do have pieces in place, but again, they got to find that consistency. And on the other side, it's a defensive line. It's been a running theme all throughout the show. Jacksonville has to be consistent on both sides of the line of scrimmage if they want to have success. Looking at some breakout players on offense, I'm looking right at Laviska Shenault. This is someone that can do it all. He can carry the football as a tailback. He can operate out of the slot or out wide. I expect him to have a big season in his second year. So will CJ Henderson. I think we'll see him stay healthy for the full 17 games, and he'll prove to be one of the top tier corners by season's end. The road to the Super Bowl for the Jaguars goes as follows. Number one, the offensive line bounces back, finds its consistency, and helps spearheads an offense that could potentially be top 15 with the way they have their run game and their passing options set up. And the pass rush has to turn up the heat. If they're going to more of a 3-4 defense, they have some lengthy, athletic guys that can really pressure the quarterback. If that pass rush really gets fire like it did a couple of seasons ago when he got to the AFC title game, they could have a return trip there as well this season. And if Lawrence just bypasses the rookie wall and plays outstanding football from start to finish, especially as the season goes on, particularly later in the season, the Jags get into the playoffs and walk themselves down I-10 West to the Super Bowl. I have the Jaguars finishing third in the AFC South. This is going to be a fun, exciting, physical football team. I think people underestimate what Urban Meyer will bring to the table. This team will be a physical point of attack team that has the element of explosiveness on both sides of the ball. So look for the pass rush to be there this year. Look for them to have a lot of chunk plays in both the passing game and also in the run game. Jacksonville, even in their first year under Urban Meyer, could be one of these teams like the Jets that could flirt with that last playoff spot. It's going to be fun to watch these guys play this year with an eye toward 2022 as their full-fledged breakout. So that's it for this edition of Football Game Plan's NFL All 32 show. I am Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media accounts, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Also, subscribe on iTunes to Football Game Plan Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating.
It's D-U-E-U till I see you by this point. You're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it. Let's do it. We gon' make this thing official. You heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit. Man, we about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it. Let's do it. We gon' make this thing official. You heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit. Yeah.